All right, it's time for that moment when forward retrospective review. Yeah, it's another one, and this is gonna be one that I'm probably not gonna rank that high. Woo. Yeah, let's discuss this album. Um, maybe I did underrate uh whatchamacallit, Terminal. But I don't know. This is an album that exists, and I don't think it's like horrible in my discography. I just, and I will say it is a little sad. This is a bit of a case of a, oh man, what a cool cover. If only it got used on something cooler. It's not like the coolest cover I've made, but I do like it with like the red and everything. Anywho, um, this album was kind of like attempt to in a couple ways. Like it really was, and I don't mean in terms of the concept, just more of like, hey, we're doing a bit of a mix and we're really pushing for some weird stuff, right? Forward does remind me a bit of like the self-titled track here reminds me of that self-titled track a little bit, just a little bit. And there are some like little things here that I think are done a lot better in other projects, but Aftermath is a it's an interesting intro. It's certainly like a little memorable. I kind of was like, "Oh yeah, this song with the honk tonk." It's repetitive, but at least it's there, and there is like some changes towards the end, but it doesn't stack in a cool way. It would have been better if it was like, I don't know, a little more movement there, because from what I understand, it's just like, oh, let's put the same note a bunch of times with the other notes, even though those ones move, which makes it sound like you're just slamming on a part of the keyboard without moving it up and down, which sounds kind of goofy. I don't hate the drums, although this is another case of the I'm pretty sure there's some post edit mixing, which makes it sound worse on audio quality. And I do like the weird, like delayed vocals. They do help a little bit. So I don't know. It's something at least. I'll give it credit. Split is a DJ mix song, but it's two DJ mixes, one in more on the left ear and one on the right. Um, it's a bit. It's giving like I missed my cue again, ice emoji with how fast it is, but I don't feel like it fully gets to feel experimental enough. And so it kind of just results in being like kind of cool, but also not only being kind of a weird thing in the middle of this, but also just like, I don't know. It's experimental. That's fine. But yeah, and a lot of these are somewhat experimental in their execution or concepts, but it doesn't mean that they hadn't been done better later on, or just that like there could have been more to be done here. And with Split, it definitely more could have been done. Concussion, it does sound like if you had one. It's very slow, freeform with weird bass and drums. I don't like this track. I think it's at least like honorable that it's kind of just rattled but better, which rattled is not good. But rattled at least has the fun part where the sample like takes over. I don't know, rattle's almost better. Like I don't the way that the drums are in this is kind of just rattled but worse. I don't know. At least it sounds generally better, but I feel like rattled at least fit that album for Void S, and I'm talking about Void SM 1, the third track of Void SM 1. Like at least it fit there. But I didn't like that song, I don't think very much, and I don't really like this one. Um but it's like another, hey, look, we did something unique. Deformity is a little grating, to be honest, and it's another case of why do we use the MIDI bells? The MIDI bells sound bad when they're not the dark bells. And just like, I know the whole point is it's supposed to be just like a, whatchamacallit. No, I'm forgetting my words. Dissonant. It's supposed to be dissonant, but it could have been cool. I liked some of the elements of it, but it doesn't come into anything that I actively like. And the except for the, I do like when it's just like the bu 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 bu, not all of it stacked, but like just in the default mix, like early on. I thought, oh, that sounds kind of nice as a bass. It's a little unique for my style, but yeah, I don't know. Hike is a DJ mix song. There is another DJ mix song on this album. This one is the most basic and it was really boring. I was really bored. The DJ mix parts of the song, like the cutting and whatever, are kind of bad. This is not that well executed. It at least has like a very like specific feel with how lo-fi and compressed it is, but it doesn't feel like it's A, earned, B, in the style of the album, or C, does enough to make it feel distinct. I maybe said the same thing for A and C, I already forgot. But point is, this song is forgettable. I legit thought this was going to be changed from Fear because I forgot, because it's just another DJ mix song. I also kind of forgot the final one existed, which we'll get to. Then we have the title track. Title track is the penultimate. That's cool. Even though this song, I guess, kind of does a little bit, not popping, but like some weird stuff at the start. It's for a unique thing because it's kind of to be like, hey, look, let's mess with the program. So that's kind of cool. I can't hate it too much, even though it is a little loud, because it just messes with the mono synth or whatever. And then you have the later part where it's like, hey, now we're moving it up and then moving it down, and it's like, I don't know. This is a very basic kind of. It feels like a marching song almost. um, but I don't know. I don't mind it, and but I just wish it sounded a little better. I wish there was a bit more to it, like some more instrumentation or something, because it's not a bad song. Like, a song called Forward that feels like it's forward thinking in terms of where I was at this point, and does some cool stuff, and it feels like you're trudging, you're marching forward. That's cool, but you could do more with it. It's a bit too repetitive as it is, and it's a little weird to have this after like Hike and Deformity. But oh well, it is a bit experimental at least. So again, we're having some like weird, cool stuff, but it's just not, I don't know, executed as well as I would like. And then we have Retread, which is a DJ mix song with DJ mix stuff of a previous song, but it's not really a remix. The song's really boring, and it like the main part ending before it's just the bass is a really bad cut in time. So it's just, this song's bad. The song's just kind of bad. I don't care. Which, same thing with Hike. Again, it's just because they sound good or layered does not mean I'm going to give them value, because they are not original. They are used from sample packs, and especially because those two are from, one singular sample pack for each of those songs, versus at least Split. I will give some, some originality points for it being a unique concept with the left and right. Yeah, there are other tracks I've done that with. I mean, Left Brain, Right Brain is like the fully original version of that, and that song is not great. I don't hate it, but it's not, I don't know. Not something. Either way, 3 of the 7 aren't original, but at least one of them is at least something. And of the other 4, I would say none of them I like really like, but there are parts of them that I do. And so it's kind of hard to give it much. I'll say, I guess this isn't a concept album, but I like that at least it's trying, and that is commendable. But it's to a very mixed amount of, mixed degree of results, mostly in the negative for me. I think overall, I can't give it a crazy high score. or even a good score. I think it's probably still worse than something like Anniversary, but I'm not fully convinced on that. I think I have to give it the score I keep giving everything that's from this era, and I have to give it a flat 2. I don't think it's low. I think it's at least a flat 2 because there's like enough to really grab onto. But yeah. And you know that moment when I think this is like the most common score, which makes sense. I think like it's not even that 5 is the average album, it's more that like there are so many albums that are really bad and then everything else completely outweighs it that these have to be really low, which is really, really funny.